Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Dermatology Journal Scan of April 2026. And we will start with what's new about Pemphigus vulgaris. In the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology, Wu et al. Analyzed the response of Pemphigus vulgaris to rituximab as super responders when the pemphigus disease area index score is low and there is high B cell percentage and negative complement 3 deposition on direct immunofluorescence. However, patients were refractory to treatment with rituximab when they had a history of an increased or high initial dose of corticosteroids and the prior use of immunosuppressants. In the Journal of Investigative Dermatology, deep analysis of inflammatory cells showed an upregulation of peripheral and central CD4 positive T helper and T memory cells, as well as those producing IL-17, IL-4, and IL-21. Such findings paved the way for a change in our understanding of Pemphigus vulgaris pathophysiology. The interest in glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist in dermatology continues. An article in the JAMA describes improvement in 2 cases of lichen sclerosus A atrophicus but extragenital upon receiving GLP-1 receptor agonists. Another article published in the Journal of the American Academy described patients with hidradinitis suppurativa receiving GLP-1 receptor agonist as less likely requiring early initiation of super drugs, namely biologics. Next, we have hidradinitis suppurativa, where a network meta-analysis of biologics phase 3 trials revealed that adalimumab seems to be more efficient than secukinumab in a statistically significant manner and non-significantly versus bimekizumab. Safety was also better with adalimumab versus both these drugs, but only significantly better over bimekizumab at 2 weeks point, but not afterwards. According to a Journal of Dermatologic Treatment article, 5 hidradenitis suppurativa patients who failed previous conventional therapy received intralesional secukinumab and showed improvement in their VAS score for pain as well as the DLQI. For psoriasis, a meta-analysis published in the Journal of the European Academy of Dermatology and Venereology revealed that for pediatric psoriasis, ixekizumab carries the highest potential for achieving PASI 100, while secukinumab was associated with more PASI 90, and finally, ustekinumab was highly associated with DLQI of children of 0 to 1 and PASI 75. Another article in the Journal of the American Academy demonstrated that elevated CD161, a T memory cell marker, and interleukin-12 receptor beta subunit 1 are pre-therapeutic predictors of rapid recurrence after treatment with IL-17 inhibitor biologics. The JAD published several interesting articles this month about alopecia areata. One of them explored the incidence of alopecia areata after vaccination and showed that although such complication is not common, but the dermatologist must be aware of it. The alopecia areata usually occurs within 18 days of vaccination, and it was associated with human papillomavirus vaccine, hepatitis A and B vaccines, and the Pfizer messenger RNA COVID-19 vaccine. The second article reassures dermatologists about safety and efficacy of baricitinib in the treatment of alopecia areata even after 3 years of continuous administration. The journal also included news about duroxylutinib, another oral JAK inhibitor targeting JAK1 and 2, which revealed promising results in its phase 2 trials for alopecia areata at the 6 months treatment period. Other miscellaneous subjects includes a Scandinavian cohort study that compared more than 2,000 pregnant women using topical retinoids in their first trimester versus 3.5 million unexposed women. The authors claimed that the use of topical retinoids during pregnancy may not carry a substantial increased risk of major congenital malformation with an adjusted risk ratio of 1.1. Although this is reassuring, we have other options than topical retinoids that can be used for acne during pregnancy, like topical azelaic acid and clindamycin preparations. In a TriNet X database cohort study, Hobson et al. Report that the use of oral tranexamic acid, although increases the relative and time-dependent risk of thromboembolic events, its use does not seem to affect the absolute risk substantially. This implies that screening of patients on tranexamic acid before prescription and on regular basis may be safer. In some cases, the differentiation between mycosis fungoides early stage, atopic dermatitis, and psoriasis can be difficult without extensive investigations and biopsies. A very useful article was published in the JAD by Balin et al. Describing the dermoscopic differences between these 3 diseases, and I highly recommend reading it fully to be aware aware of the points the authors have raised. The use of simple investigations to monitor systemic inflammation progress among patients with psoriasis and hidradenitis suppurativa has been addressed in the ACTA journal, where the authors used the neutrophil to lymphocyte, the systemic immune inflammation index, and the systemic inflammation response index extracted from a complete blood picture to monitor disease status. In the Journal of Clinical and Experimental Dermatology, Demirbas et al. Concluded that JAK inhibitors, namely upadacitinib and abrocitinib, are superior to dupilumab in patients with recalcitrant prurigo nodularis. Finally, a very innovative method for treating actinic porokeratosis is described in the Indian Journal of Dermatology, Venereology and Rheumatology by Saich et al., where they use topical egg yolk as a sort of cholesterol instead of the costly and sophisticated preparations of cholesterol and statins for the treatment of porokeratosis coupled with oral rosuvastatin. Thank you very much.